Hey, welcome to Vortex Garage, and today we're going to show you how to change the rear differential fluid on a 2018 Honda CRV. Let's go ahead and get this thing up on the lift. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use our lift to get the car in the air, but if you've got a jack and jack stands, you can certainly do that. Just make sure you're safe, make sure you're using good quality jack stands. All right, and even if you're using a lift, make sure you lift safely. Follow the manufacturer's recommendation for lift points, and make sure you have some secure stands underneath. All right, we're going to go to the back of the vehicle, and we're going to take a look at the rear differential. All right, so real quick, we're going to cover just a couple of the tools that you're going to need. So to get your drain and fill plug off, you just need a 3/8 ratchet, and it fits in. We'll show you how that works. You will need a torque wrench to put them back in. You're also going to need some crush gaskets, and we'll put a link on the video on where to get these. This pack is nice because it's the two sizes you need. You need an 18 millimeter and a 20 millimeter for the two plugs. Yes, you do need these. If you don't, you risk leaking fluid out the crush gaskets. These are one-time use, so make sure you get these. Second, we got this tool. I've got a couple of these in the shop, but I got a new one so I don't contaminate the fluid. This is like $6. It's a pump to pump things out. You'll find this much easier to fill it up. Again, we'll post a link to that. We've also got a paint mix container. I like to use these when I want to measure fluid exactly. So the spec in the book says 1.32 quarts. So I can do my 1 quart measure, which I can just use a quart. But then my 0.32 is 10.24 ounces, and I've got that marked off. So if I want to be official, I can do that. Otherwise, I can fill until it starts leaking up. We'll cover that when we get to it. The big important part, though, is this. This is Honda Dual Pump Fluid 2. You have to use the OEM fluid. There's not really any alternatives, so make sure you get the good stuff, especially so you don't void your warranty. Now, if you look in the book says to use DPSF2, and I spent a lot of time researching that because this doesn't say DPSF fluid, this says Dual Pump Fluid 2. From what I understand, DPSF and Dual Pump Fluid 2, or DPSF2 and Dual Pump Fluid 2 are the same thing. This is actually Dual Pump System Fluid 2, which makes the acronym DPSF2. Originally, back in the day, DPSF2 was sold in Acura dealers and Dual Pump in Honda, from what I read. Someone can maybe correct me. But everything I've found is if you call the dealer and you say, hey, I need fluid, they're going to sell you Dual Pump Fluid 2. Now, for some reason, there's an objection to that. Please let me know. But every bit of research I did, and if you call your dealer and call your parts department, you can find that out. Now, pricing this out, some of the dealer parts departments are going to be kind of expensive. You go online, I got this from Honda Parts Direct. It was $8.36 a quart. On Amazon, it was $20 a quart. So I did pay a little more in shipping. I think overall it was about $30 shipped for the 2 quarts that you need to do the job. But it just reminds you to shop around, but make sure you're getting authentic stuff, and always be careful. I'm sure you've seen other videos on YouTube that there is counterfeit stuff out there, so make sure you find a valued source or just go to your dealer and pick it up. But shop around because sometimes the price can be expensive. All right, we're gonna get started. What we're gonna do, we're gonna clear this stuff out so we don't get it dirty. We've got our drain pan here, and if we can bring the camera in, we're gonna show you really fast. Drain plug right here, so if you can circle around and just kind of see that. Okay, that's your drain plug, and then come around on this side, that's on the passenger side. Come around to the driver's side, you have your fill plug up here. Now you are gonna wanna come in, this truck sees a little more dusty and dirty conditions, so we're gonna wanna clean that off before we take it off so we don't get anything in the differential. But that's the fill, and that's the drain. So let's go ahead and get to work. All right, so I'm just gonna bring a rag in here with some brake cleaner on it and just sort of clean this off. And same on our drain. Let's make sure we have clean surfaces. We'll just come in. Ooh, that was tight, but there we go. Hang on. I didn't do a very good job cleaning that out. I was trying. before we take that all the way off, I'm going to do a little better job cleaning that because there's some dust and dirt coming out. We'll actually get the spray can. We'll clean that one. I think this CRV sees more off-road than most of them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start letting this drain. Then we're going to pull the fill plug while this is draining, and that'll let it drain a little faster and give it some time to drain all the way out. Now, one thing, and hopefully this is focusing on the camera, when you do pull this out, the plug is magnetic, and there will be material on that. And it's nothing to be concerned of unless it's caked on big time. This vehicle only has about 15,000 miles. And the maintenance minder will come out pretty quick and ask you to drain the fluid because they want you to basically change it from a break-in perspective. So if you're getting that maintenance minder early and you're wondering why, it's for break-in. And these are just part of the break-in procedure. So we're going to clean this plug off. We'll set it aside and do that a little later. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and open our fill plug. And that'll give some air on the backside to help that drain fully. And then we'll just leave that to drain while we're cleaning up our plug. There we go. It's nice and tight from the factory. If you want to go ahead and swing around, you can let folks see this. So again, just getting it up here with our ratchet. Once it's cracked loose, it should spin off no problem. And the nice thing is it's pretty obvious to tell the difference between the two plugs, and they're different sizes, so you can't mix them up. And then there's that crush gasket. If you can see that, they literally do crush. They do what they're said. They're a soft material that actually seals, and they're a one-time use. Once they crush, you want to replace them with a new one. All right, we're going to go ahead and let this drain. All right, so here are our two plugs. We're just going to clean them up, and of course we have our crush gaskets we can take off. Let's go ahead and get these cleaned up. There, nice and simple. Just clean. The idea on this one is just get all that gunk off the magnet, and we just used a little bit of brake clean. Make sure the threads are clean, and you're good to go. Let's grab our new crush washers while we're at it. Oh, there's our 20 millimeter. Let's get an 18 millimeter. Watch, there won't be any. Nope, there are. There's an 18 millimeter. Okay, we'll put these back in, save them for the next time. Then we'll take a new crush washer, we'll put it on the fill plug, and a new crush washer on our drain plug. And then these old ones, just chuck them, they're trash. All right, you can see where our brake clean sprayed and kind of clean. This is not that it was leaking. But it's always good to double check and make sure that all the seals are good. So we're going to get ready to put our drain plug back in. Of course, we got our torque wrench. And so looks like the torque spec's 35 foot-pounds. All right, we'll come in with our torque wrench. All we did was put an extension on it so we don't hit the piece here. Just got to find it, get it in. And start tightening it down. Now, as you're tightening it, you'll actually feel the crush washer do its thing. You'll feel it crush. But right there, we're hitting our torque spec. So I did feel that crush washer just compress a little bit, and now I've hit my torque spec. That's it. No point in going any further. Torque it to spec. All right, so we've got our tool here for filling. We're going to pull that out. And what it does is this hose goes into the fill port, and then it has two pipes, depending on the size of the container you're using. We're going to use the longer one, and that will go on here on the bottom. Ooh, we might need the short one. We'll put that on. All right, then we'll just take our bottle and we'll thread this on and twist this a bit to pop it up. Like that, and all we're going to do is come up under the car. All right, so we've got our fill port, we've got our thing here. We're just going to put this hose, without getting anything dirty, into our fill port. then we're going to start pumping our fluid in. And we're going to do this whole quart. There's 1.32 quarts. All right, we're towards the end of our quart. We'll carefully pull that out. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go up to our workbench, which is messy, so it's actually our parts washer, because our workbench is really messy. And we're going to measure out the 0.32 quarts, refill this with that, and then we'll come back and fill the rest of it up. Let's go do that. All right, if you're a neat freak, this might make you scream, and makes me scream just a little bit. But we haven't had time to clean up too much, and we'll get there. So what I'm going to do, take our new jug or quart bottle, and we're just going to fill up to our mark on this paint mix cup. So we can be exact to what the book says, do it just how Honda wants it. All right, that's 10.24 ounces, which is 0.32 quarts. Now, generally with these, you usually just fill them until you get a little bit of dripping out of that fill plug. And they're designed with that fill plug in a spot where that's the right height. So it's pretty impossible to overfill them. Got to let a little air in too while you're doing it, or it'll splatter everywhere. But if for some reason you did overfill it a little bit, differentials have a vent on them and it can vent off excess if it needs to. The reason they have a certain height is that as the fluid heats up and as the car is moving, the fluid will actually expand a little bit and it'll rise up. And if you have too high a level, it would actually be too much volume for that. So, all right, so that's our 0.32 ounce quarts, which is 10.24 ounces. We can put this back in here with whatever was left. Let's go back to the back of the vehicle. Put our fill hose back in. And it'd be interesting to see if with this 0.32 quarts, if this is enough to have it just dribble out a little bit, which would mean that you could just do that and not have to measure it. All right, so we double checked everything, and with the 1.32 quarts, it was right under our fill plug, so kind of like what normal steps have you do. So it was kind of cool to just double check that following exactly what the book said. So that capacity level takes you right to the bottom of there and just starts seeping out ever so slightly. So it's perfectly filled. So we can go ahead and get our fill plug, put it in, and get that torqued to spec. So here is our fill plug with our new crush gasket. Looks like there's just enough room to get our torque wrench in. All right, that is our torque to spec. And all right, so we've torqued our drain plug, then we filled to capacity, and we torqued our fill plug. Our job is done. So as you can see, this is actually a pretty simple job. Just make sure you use the correct fluid, that dual pump service fluid too. And that's all you need to do to replace the rear differential fluid on your 2018 Honda CRV.